Yeah, I'm not just about saving people money on car insurance. I also love supporting wildlife conservation. I'm teaming up with the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. That's why I'm here. I'm going to be making the rounds at a whole bunch of zoos. You have no idea I'm down here. You can't even hear me, can you? Oh, I think I pulled a muscle. Oh, it's probably in my neck.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hey, Mr. Opportunity here, and if you're seeing me, it's Honda clearance time, which means now's your chance to pick the totally redesigned Accord, the sporty Civic, the fuel-efficient Fit, or any other Honda you yearn for at a deal that can only be described as very desirable.
Looking good, Mr. O.
This job just keeps getting better and better. The 2008 Honda clearance. Get APR financing as low as 0.9% on all new Honda Odyssey models for well-qualified buyers. I'm Mr. Opportunity, and I'm knocking.
Bernie Mac and Isaac Hayes have passed away. I didn't think this day would ever come. I was also in denial on Kurt Cobain, Heath Ledger, Gerald, and Sean Levert. But when a funny man dies, it's even sadder because the comedian eases our pain by creating out of thin air the greatest form of medicine. Laughter. Oceans 11, 12, 13, Mr. 3000, and The Bernie Mac Show. The Mac Man, we miss you, and we remember you tonight on Gerard McClendon Live. Thank you for joining Gerard McClendon Live. I will miss Bernie Mac. Just the look on his face would make me laugh. And when he told the joke, he looked you right in the eye, just knowing that the punchline was going to evoke an explosion of laughter. What were your favorite Bernie Mac moments? Later, comedian Mike Alexander will be on the show to share his Bernie Mac stories. But the executive director of the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research in Chicago, Debbie Durer, joins us from Studio C. Welcome, Debbie. Thank you for joining Gerard McClendon Live.
Thank you for having me.
You know, Debbie, let's get right into this. We understand that Bernie Mac, he didn't necessarily die of sarcoidosis. He died of complications due to pneumonia. But, you know, what is basically the cause of sarcoidosis? And before we even get to that, could you define it for us?
Sure. Sarcoidosis, it's an inflammatory disease that can affect any organ in the body. And in people with sarcoidosis, their immune system overreacts, and that overreaction causes damage to different organs.
Now, Debbie, are you born with it, or does it develop over time? What happens here?
Well, we don't know exactly what causes sarcoidosis. I think the best information that we can share at this point is that someone has a genetic predisposition to the disease and then comes in contact with some form of trigger in the environment that might not trigger the disease in someone like myself, but might, in the case of someone with the genetic predisposition, they would end up with sarcoidosis.
We're taking phone calls at 630-575-TALK, 630-575-TALK. We have the executive director for the Sarcoidosis Foundation in Chicago. You know, getting right to the matter of the similarities, Debbie, with sarcoidosis, and I'm looking at sickle cell anemia and possibly the third one, lupus. Are there similarities and major differences here?
Well, I'm not a health professional, so we would encourage people that have questions specifically about different medical conditions to probably talk to them with their doctor. I think the best information we can share is that if you're experiencing symptoms that seem out of the ordinary for you, it's important to discuss them always with your doctor. I think some things that are fairly common with sarcoidosis tend to be organ specific. If you notice you're having difficulty breathing, a persistent cough, that sort of thing, then certainly that can be a sign. But there are more general symptoms that plague patients with the disease. You know, just a general feeling of ill health, chronic fatigue, weight loss are things that you could watch for too, but are indicative of other problems also.
Yeah, you know, I've got a close family member that has sarcoidosis, and it's frustrating, you know, to see this individual go through the pain. Let's talk about the relationship that Bernie Mac had with your foundation.
Well, Bernie Mac had been involved with the NBA CARES program, which is a program organized by the National Basketball Association. Bill Russell and his family is involved with that charity as well, and they did what was called a fantasy basketball league every year, and Bernie Mac had donated the winnings through that charity event to this foundation, and as a result we were able to help thousands of patients. So although, you know, today we may not be able to say for certain what role sarcoidosis played in his death, it's certainly clear that he was committed to helping others with sarcoidosis.
Yeah, and you know, it's a beautiful thing because I believe, Debbie, that that's what celebrity is for. You know, it's not to just parade around and be the famous person in the room or on TV. It's about using that power to help a cause. I'm going to take a phone call. Charlie, thank you for calling Gerard McClendon Live. What's your comment or question? Charlie, you're on Gerard McClendon Live. Charlie? Okay, Debbie, we're going to come back to you. Debbie, how long has your foundation been in existence?
The Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research was started in 2000, so we're coming up on 8 years now that we've been here in Chicago providing support to patients. And the organization was started by a group of patients who are very interested in putting as much money as they could towards the cause of research to unlock some of the questions that we decided we didn't have answers to, or at least not sufficient answers. What causes the disease, what can be done about it, what treatments are available. And so I think we've funded some really innovative research projects in the last few years.
Thank you so much. You know what, Debbie, give us your website address, please, for our viewers.
Sure, it's www.stopsarcoidosis.org. And we also have a toll-free number, but certainly people in Chicago could call us locally. But toll-free, 866-358-5477. And anyone who contacts us is certainly free to get all kinds of information and access to support.
Now, before we go to break, Debbie, will you be having fundraisers, you know, this winter or next summer?
Well, we actually do a great program along the lakefront on September 21st. We partner with a bunch of other lung health organizations, and it's called the Hike for Lung Health. It will be held at Montrose Harbor. It's a great opportunity to come out, to meet some other patients that have sarcoidosis, and to raise awareness and funds for lung research. So that's a great one. And we do an event every February called KISS Chicago. It's Kick In to Stop Sarcoidosis. I think both of those are great opportunities to help raise awareness, raise important money for research, and interact with other people who have the disease.
Debbie, please stay with us.
Okay.
Debbie DeRay is from the Foundations for Sarcoidosis Research. We want you to stay with us. We're going to be back in 2 minutes on GML. If you've got any questions, 630-575-TALK. We'll answer those questions pertaining to sarcoidosis. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Gerard McClendon Live is brought to you by Cadillac. Life, liberty, and the pursuit.
Sunglasses, sandals, a little color, and the perfect shade of lip gloss. But the ultimate summer accessory? Metal.
The Cadillac summer event rolls on with 0% APR financing for 60 months on a new 2008 CTS. See your Cadillac dealer for details.
Well, we're supposed to be there at 5 o'clock.
Hey, can you turn up the TV for me, please? That's the commercial I was talking about.
For just $7.95 a month per unit, guaranteed acceptance life insurance is available to people ages 50 to 85 through the Colonial Penn program to help pay funeral costs and other final expenses.
Oh, that one. For guaranteed acceptance life insurance through the Colonial Penn program.
Guaranteed acceptance. I like that. Not so sure I'd pass the physical.
Don't worry. We were accepted.
You will not be required to take a medical exam of any kind. In fact, you don't even have to answer any health questions.
You mean you and Tom have this plan?
Sure do. I just got it. After I heard what Jan went through, I didn't want to have the same worries.
I just want to be sure I choose coverage I can afford and a company I can trust.
And with the Colonial Penn program, the rates and guarantees are great when you're on a budget.
Just $7.95 a month per unit. That's about 25 cents a day. After the first 2 years, your benefit is guaranteed to never decrease. And your rate of just $7.95 a month per unit is guaranteed to never increase.
You don't see those kind of guarantees everywhere.
No, you don't.
It sounds so easy.
It is. See for yourself. Here, give them a call.
So pick up the phone and call now. You'll be glad you did.
Call 1-800-923-8321 for your free information kit and free handy guide to Social Security. There's no risk or obligation. That's 1-800-923-8321. Call now.
I live here.
Yeah.
I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
I was born here. I'm going to pass here.
Yeah.
I like Chicago because Chicago helps me stay right here.
That's the Mac Man, Bernie Mac, sharing his feelings about Sweet Home Chicago to WGN's Dean Richards. Welcome back to Gerard McClendon Live. In our Tribune Tower, we've got comedian Mike Alexander joining us, along, of course, in Studio C at CLTV. We've got Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research, Debbie DeRay. Mike Alexander, thanks for joining the show.
No problem, Gerard.
Fellow comedian and friend and acquaintance of Bernie Mac. You know, it's a sad day, my brother. Talk to us about that.
Well, yeah, it's a sad day for Chicago. It's a sad day for comedy in general. Bernie Mac meant a lot to this city, and he also meant a lot to the comedians, especially the young comedians who perform around here. Bernie was an original. You can't pigeonhole the style of comedy that he had. He was like no other comedian, and his dedication towards, you know, this art form that, you know, that we do was unparalleled.
Yeah, now, Mike, I'm going to take a phone call. Debbie, hold on. I've got R. Smith. R. Smith, thank you for joining Gerard McClendon Live. What's your question or comment?
Yes, hi. I would like to know if this is psychosis is hereditary.
That's a good question. Debbie, is it hereditary?
Well, I think from the research that's been done, that you see the disease will occur in siblings and in parents and children, so that certainly points to there being a genetic component to the disease. So I think the answer there is yes.
Yes, there may be a trait. I'm going to take John. John, thank you for calling Gerard McClendon Live. What's your question or comment?
Debbie, my wife was diagnosed with this disease, and we need to know what type of questions to ask our doctor. And we also wanted to know what type of research is being done to help patients who have the disease.
Thank you for calling, John. Appreciate that. Debbie, questions?
Well, I think those are great questions. In terms of the kinds of research that's being done right now, I think that the things that patients are looking for is what kinds of treatments are available, what kind of cures are perhaps on the horizon. And the foundation, if you do visit our website, there's a pretty comprehensive list of grants that we've given out. Some of them are looking at new kinds of treatments that are available for sarcoidosis patients, and certainly different kinds of research that would explain the questions of, you know, how did I get the disease in the first place, whether it's looking at the genetics, which was the previous caller's question, or certainly, you know, were there an environmental trigger that we could pinpoint, or even why does the inflammatory process happen the way it does. In terms of questions that you'd ask your physician, I think anytime you have a new symptom, whether it's sarcoidosis or anything else, I think you know how you're feeling, and if something seems out of the ordinary, those are certainly things you always want to bring to your doctor's attention.
Yes, and as Debbie mentioned, it's an inflammatory disease, and I was also reading on your website that it attacks mostly the lungs and the lymph nodes. I want to lighten things up just a little bit. I know this is a very serious topic, but I do have Mike Alexander, the comedian. Mike, talk to me, man. Two questions about work ethic. What does it take to be a comedian? And then I know you got a funny Bernie Mac story. Talk to me.
Well, I'm not sure if I have necessarily a funny story. I won't make anything up. But, you know, the work ethic to be a great comedian means that you have to breathe, you have to eat, and you have to sleep this business. This business is highly competitive. There's a lot of people who want everyone else's spot. And quite frankly, you know, the business, how it stands right now, there are hardly any clubs left. When Bernie started, when I started, it was a heyday of comedy, and you know, and there were plenty of clubs around, and even then it was very competitive. But nowadays, if you really are serious about this, then you need to approach it like it's a job, and you need to be very diligent.
Yes, that's the key. And you know, if anyone out there has any affinities for Bernie Mac, I mean, if you've got a funny story, if there's a favorite program or movie, you know, a favorite stand-up that you saw, call me. 630-575-TALK is the number, 630-575-TALK. We've got Mike Alexander in the mix, also Debbie DeRay from the Foundation of Sarcoidosis Research. It's Gerard McClendon Live you're watching, and still to come on today's show, we're going to talk about funny man Bernie Mac. We're going to also try to get to Isaac Hayes later in the show, but we'll be back in 2 minutes. Gerard McClendon Live.
My name is J.J. Santoro, and I am a cancer survivor. It was an aggressive stage, and I'd have a better quality of life, enjoy your life for now, and in other words, get your affairs in order. And I mean, my tail was down. You know how most people feel about the hometown major hospital, and they didn't have hope, so why should I? When I arrived at Cancer Treatment Centers of America, the environment was phenomenal. They put me in the arms of a whole team. They found more in 3 days than the others did in 7 months. They came up with a game plan. They were willing to fight it with me, so I decided, let's do it. Let's go for it.
Our cancer information specialists are here for you day and night. Call now and they'll send you this free DVD showing you how this special hospital combines state-of-the-art medicine with unique therapies to give you treatment options you may not even know exist.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America replaced all my fears with hope, determination, and direction. I feel absolutely fantastic. My tail is wagging. I'm a happy camper. That's JJ speaking.
Please, call today.
His company doesn't offer medical insurance, so we needed an affordable health plan that fit our family's needs.
When I started my own business, I didn't think I could afford health insurance. I just wanted to be able to see my personal doctor once a year.
When I retired, we were years away from Medicare.
But we still needed protection.
What if something serious happened?
So a friend recommended Assurant Health. We were able to protect our entire family. They even have a dental plan.
I saved hundreds of dollars by only paying for benefits I want. I even got a 15% discount just for being healthy.
We got $6 million in medical coverage and can even see the specialist we choose.
Without a referral.
For over 100 years, Assurant Health has been meeting the needs of individuals like you. Plans start under $100 per month.
These offers may not last, so call 1-800-335-3448 to lock in your rate for 2 years.
He was married to the same woman for a long time. He was a great family guy. He had his daughters he was proud of. He's put all his kids through college, man. This is a good brother, man. People remember him for his jokes and stuff, but the real dude, the real guy, Bernie Mac, was a solid brother, man.
Man, that's Steve Harvey in his own words. Bernie Mac's co-star on the critically acclaimed Kings of Comedy and also his good friend. Welcome back to Gerard McClendon Live. 630-575-TALK is the number, 630-575-TALK. We're with Michael Alexander and Debbie DeRay. Michael, quickly, man, you know, something I wrote on my blog earlier today is that Bernie Mac was so good at the setup of the joke, the story, and the punchline. Very Bill Cosby-like, how you get the joke to marinate with jabs, and then you have these haymakers, man. I mean, how difficult is it to write jokes like that?
It's very difficult to write jokes like that. I mean, you know, for one, Bernie Mac wasn't a safe comedian. Bernie Mac took a lot of chances, and Bernie Mac was very edgy. And, you know, when you do that, you know, you're not going to please all of the people all of the time. But I tell you, he was a comedian's comedian, and he was well respected because he didn't take the easy way out, and he wrote very thought-provoking material and very, you know, things that people related to.
Yes, and you know, Mike, I was on your website earlier, man. I was watching some of the jokes. You're pretty edgy, too, man. I was checking you out, and I do want to give you your props. You work with George Lopez. You've written for Jay Leno. You've written for Arsenio Hall. So I do want to give you kudos on that, and I appreciate you coming on to the show. I'm going back to the phones. I'm talking to Lanice, Gerard McClendon Live. Lanice, welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
No, my best episode of Bernie Mac when he was in Players Club.
You like that?
Yep. You don't have any clips for that?
Oh man, you got to check those out at your nearest video store. But I appreciate you calling Gerard McClendon Live. You know, that's what it's all about. It's about being a fan. And you know, I want to read this from the Chicago Tribune about Bernie Mac. Bert Haas, who is the executive vice president of Zanies in Chicago, said, "I think what Bernie Mac did that few, if any, have been able to do was become a success here in Chicago." He goes on to say, "Most of our homegrown talent has to leave. They have to go to L.A. or New York to become famous." But he says Bernie Mac was selling out the Chicago theater before he went to New York City. I mean, that's truly a testament to the talent of Bernie Mac. You got to add on to that. Help me out, Mike. I mean, that's big, man.
That's incredible. I mean, It's unheard of that you can make it from Chicago. I mean, everyone has to go to New York eventually or Los Angeles because that's where everything is. They normally don't respect you for some reason.
Right.
If you don't, if you don't leave and go to LA or New York. And Bernie had his own thing here. Yeah. And Bernie was such a great talent that, the mountain had to come to Muhammad.
Yes, that's big. I'm taking Anise. Anise, you're on Gerard McClendon Live. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment? Anise.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great.
I just wanted to say that my props go out to Bernie Mac, myself being the individual that suffers from sarcoidosis. The energy level is just so low that, I got mad enough for him just to get up every day and do what he do. The energy that he put into everything that he did.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Anise. Debbie, please speak to that, because those that I know with this debilitating ailment, some days it's just hard for them to get out of bed. Can you speak to that?
Sure. I think that is one of the most common symptoms with sarcoidosis, is that people do have a chronic fatigue, or they're just feeling badly a lot of the time. And unfortunately, that's the kind of symptom that's easily brushed aside by the medical community. So that may be the first thing that you notice when you have the disease. And certainly when you feel bad over a long period of time, that really can put a strain on not just your own life, but on your personal relationships. And I think, as that caller mentioned, that some days it is difficult to get up. And Bernie Mac as a person, certainly as an identifiable figure with the disease, makes life a little bit easier for patients, because I think they feel very isolated. The first time they heard the word sarcoidosis is probably when they were diagnosed, and now I think for a lot of them they can say to their families, see, this was a serious illness, and a lot of people are talking about it, and I think that's a benefit today.
That's a very good point. I'm glad you clarified that, because for those that don't understand, they may think the person, it may have symptoms that will go away in a few days or something of that nature, but it's a very, very serious ailment. When it comes to Bernie Mac, I was hoping that he would get the rest and rehabilitate. It did not happen, but his family is definitely in our prayers. Stay with us on Gerard McClendon Live. We'll be back shortly. You can always hit my blog at www.cltv.com/GML. You can blog us commenting on Bernie Mac, Isaac Hayes, and sarcoidosis. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Do you long for longer hair but get stopped by all the breakage? Now there's a new way to make long hair happen. Only from Pantene comes new beautiful lengths. The AquaCurrent Pro V formula makes damaged hair stronger, up to 10 times stronger against breakage. Grow your hair longer and stronger. New beautiful lengths shampoo and conditioner. A part of proceeds helps give real hair wigs to women with cancer. Pantene.
Hey, I'm back, and so is the Honda clearance, which means two great things can happen. One, it's your chance to get a new, totally redesigned Accord or the fuel-efficient Civic. And two, at a savings that could be very opportunistic. Get it? Look, I may be animated, but it all adds up to me. Oop, guess I forgot to walk Oscar. The 2008 Honda clearance. Get APR financing as low as 1.9% on all new Honda Accords for well-qualified buyers. I'm Mr. Opportunity, and I'm knocking. Oscar!
Why are people who work in information technology so well paid? Because they run the computers that keep businesses running. If you want to work in the IT industry, train at Westwood College in computer networking or information system security. You can prepare for a job in a field that's here to stay. And at Westwood, you'll get hands-on training from instructors who have worked in the field. If you're thinking about a new career, it might make sense to check out this one.
Call 1-800-565-2472. That's 1-800-565-2472. Call now.
Hi, I'm Heather, and I hope that last commercial inspired you to call this number and ask for an informational brochure on career training. If you are thinking about a new career, I'll bet you have some questions, and our brochure will give you some answers. We'll take your call 24 hours a day, all night, and weekends too. So what are you waiting for? Right now is a great time to call.
For a free brochure, call 1-800-565-2472. That's 1-800-565-2472. Call now.
Who is the man that would risk his neck for his brother, man? Can you
wow, it brings back memories. I'm telling you, you know, a happy day for the great music and comedy that was created, but a sad day for the two gentlemen that had to leave us this weekend. You know, I want to read this pertaining to Isaac Hayes just quickly. It talks about how he was a new traditionalist. He broke the style of songs being 3 minutes or less. He took it to the next level. He prefaced songs with raps, and Isaac Hayes was one who blended orchestration to the popular song. And so, hey, we want to thank Isaac Hayes for his many contributions. I want to go to Suzanne. Suzanne, thank you for calling Gerard McClendon Live. What's your question or comment?
I want to know if you can have sarcoidosis of the heart, and if this is the same disease that Darian Chapman died of.
Thank you so much. Debbie.
Sarcoidosis can affect any organ in the body, and yes, Darian Chapman was a figure in local media here who passed away of undiagnosed cardiac sarcoidosis, and I think that that's something important to keep in mind, that sarcoidosis can be life-threatening, especially if you don't know you have it. So as patients who are calling in who've already been diagnosed, I think going to our website, learning as much as you can about the symptoms that are out there, and taking that information and knowledge back to your doctors and asking good questions, it's probably the best advice that we can give to patients.
Yes, Debbie, closing thoughts, and then I'm going to go to Mike. Closing thoughts, Debbie.
Again, I think for any of us with a chronic illness, learning as much as you can about the disease, that's really the best advice I can give to anybody. And certainly our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Bernie Mac. Yes. He'll be missed.
Debbie, thank you. Mike, the legacy of Bernie Mac, man. Talk to us about comedy and the legacy that comedians give. Talk to us.
Well, I think, you know, Bernie Mac was, I would put him in a category of a Richard Pryor or a Dick Gregory. People are going to be following Bernie Mac and studying them, comedians. They're going to be studying him forever. I mean, he's a template of how to do it the right way, to be diligent, to be funny, to be creative, and also at the same time to not let fame go to your head and be a good guy. And Bernie Mac was a great guy.
You know, Mike, where can we catch you, man, in the Chicago area?
Well, this week, Wednesday through Friday, I'll be at Zany's in St. Charles, and Saturday I'll be at Zany's in Vernon Hills, and next week, I think it's the 19th through the 24th, I'll be at Zany's on Wells downtown.
Debbie, Mike, thanks for being on Gerard McClendon Live. We appreciate you. I want to read a few blog comments. I'm looking at Jill's blog. She says, we are all fans of the Bernie Mac show. My husband and I especially enjoyed the humor related to family. B says, I'm probably telling my age, but I enjoy Isaac Hayes' appearances on South Park. I'm reading Alan R.C.'s comment that says he will be missed. Also, the Mac Man and Isaac Hayes will be greatly missed, not just for the things on camera, but for the things they've done for community. That's Lee 3. And then Jean I says, my daughter called me today and said Bernie Mac is like losing a family member. I agree. Wow. Thank you for watching GML, and thanks to my guests Debbie Duray and Mike Alexander. Our thoughts are with the McCullough and Hayes families after the show. Post your comments on Bernie Mac and Isaac Hayes at CLTV.com/GML. It's been great, Chicago. Be encouraged. Keep your head up, and good night.
It's summer, so what's dear old Dad doing? Commuting. I'm not sweating it, though. I opted for the AC seats. Worth every penny.